Hey, me again. I'm going to talk about the Star Wars Force Awakens trailer. Now, it's already been a month after it's been released, and I have some thoughts on it. I really do. I've heard really negative aspects of it, I've heard positive aspects. Some of the negative is it looks like a fan film, and it looks like it's shot weird and stuff like that. The other is positive is that, and the lightsaber looks fake, but that's negative. The lightsaber looks fake. Positive is that the Falcon looks cool, the CGI looks cool, it's shot differently than what George Lucas would do. It feels like Star Wars again. It's like Star Wars is back. It's got the grit that the prequel trilogy didn't really have. Um, but I love this trailer. It's really only 88 seconds, and it's got some really cool stuff in it. Now, when I first saw it, I didn't really know what to think of it, and then I kept watching. And I more got into this world. I'm like, yeah, it's new Star Wars. It's a new style to it, I guess you can say. Um, like it's like the first shot you see the black stormtrooper, hiding. His name is John Boyega, and the character's name is I can't remember. It was Finn. His name is Finn. Kind of sounds like a swashbuckling name. And what this character looks like, the way it's filmed is shot like more into like tense, and the way the camera moves, it's like the scene where all the stormtroopers are in that like ship and it's shaking and you could see lightning, like you actually feel like you're in a battlefield. Like this seems different than what George Lucas would do. um and it's interesting because we never really saw a different style with Star Wars. I mean, it's probably gonna feel like Star Wars, but it's gonna be done in a different, uh it's not gonna do its own thing, but it's gonna be like the the tone of the movie's probably gonna feel like Stars, but like it's shot differently, and maybe grit. It looks more grittier, I guess you could say. Like maybe more realistic, I guess you could say, more intense. Um, yeah, and but I just wanted to talk about my interesting theory on it. Now, Kylo Ren, he's the name of the new, I'm guessing, new bad guy. He we see him walking in the snow. He pulls out his lightsaber. It's like crackling. It's like it looks like, and the two things come out. It's like kind of lightsaber hilt. I have an interesting theory on him. Now, I've never heard anybody talk about this. Some say he's an inquisitor from the Rebel series. Some say he is like Palpatine, maybe. You know what I think he is? Now, I think he's an ancient Sith. Now, if you think about when Anakin, Darth Vader, threw down Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi, that was supposed to, if they're gonna count the key prequels as canon, because the original series doesn't really say that's a prophecy, but if they keep the prequels canon, it's the prophecy that destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force. Now, balance the Force, that means the Sith is destroyed. Now, that should even eliminate the Inquisitors. Now, what I think it is it's it's the dark, like a dark cider, an old ancient Sith from 1,000 years ago, like 1,000 years before the prequels. Like this is an old Sith. Now, why would a Sith be hiding for thousands of years? How could he even live that long? Even Yoda did. What if he is a Sith that is frozen? Like he's frozen, he somehow escapes, and he's free, and he's gonna plunder the galaxy because he wants his revenge on the Jedi for maybe freezing him. Because how does freezing him support this? Okay, he's on an ice planet. He's on an ice planet. Okay, there's snow. Anything could get frozen there. Uh, how do I know he could be 1,000 years old? Okay, first of all, his clothes are like all tattered, and also the people wondered why the lightsaber seems to be crackling, like it doesn't look perfect. It's not a straight. It's like a thing, kind of looks like more of a violent like lightsaber. What if the lightsaber has been frozen for 1,000 years. It's not going to be in perfect condition. Something that's 1,000 years isn't going to be perfect condition. The lightsaber crystals inside could decay over time, and so it's not as powerful as it used to be. So that's why it's like because it's old, and I'll explain the hilt because the new lightsabers are more sleeker and don't have they look more modern, and this one looks like ancient, like medieval time. So it's an old. That would explain the hilt because that's what the lightsabers had thousands of years ago. So that's my theory on the villain Kylo Ren and how he gets free from the ice. So I have two theories. One, uh, that's what awakens the Force. Like somehow he like someone stumbles upon it, melts the ice, he's free, he's like cutting through everything. Maybe it's like the stormtroopers. And since the Sith is back, okay, let's say this. After the Sith died, there's no like Luke is the only Jedi. Everybody's still force sensitive. No, all the Jedi have no need to come back because Luke is still the Jedi because he was before Palpatine was destroyed. What if after the Sith is destroyed, there can't be no more Jedi because we need a Sith to counter. We need Jedi to have Sith, something like that. And I mean, we need Sith to have Jedi. We need Sith to have Jedi, and like after Palpatine was destroyed, the Jedi, the Force, I don't want to say became weaker, but became less important. And now, what if once the Sith awakens, the Force also awakens? Like the Force needs the Jedi to come back in order for the galaxy to be in stability. That's my one reason, but how that could be counteracted is well, Palpatine destroyed everything. So if there's no more of the Sith need to make more Jedi, how come Luke is the only Jedi? No more after that. So that's kind of counterfeit, but maybe they could that idea could be, and they're just more cleaned up, like maybe I don't know, something like that. But um anyway. What if another idea is that the Force awakens, okay? And okay, so the Force awakens. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my favorite show, Avatar, the Legend of Korra part. And in season three, Legend of Korra, well, season two that spread to season three, Korra opened the spirit portals, and during harmonic convergence, did something to the world to give airbending because airbending was nearly extinct. There was only four left in the world because the Fire Nation destroyed them. Now, what if they take something like that? Like, let's say they open this portal, something like that, something that awakens the Force. Like they go to this old like Yoda's cave type of thing, and they they do something and awakens the Force in the galaxy, bringing back Jedi. So everybody who's normal citizen all of a sudden gets the Force. Like let's say John Boyega, he's a normal average stormtrooper doing stuff for the Empire, and all of a sudden gets the Force, and the Empire still wants to get rid of the Jedi. So they're like, he's a Jedi now, let's get him. And so that's why he has to run away from the Empire, and that could lead to other, Rey, which is the female, is gets the Force. Everybody who's normal gets the Force, and Luke Skywalker discovers this. But while this gets everyone, the Force awakens in everybody, What if it's so powerful that it awakens a bad spirit? Like, let's say it awakens the Sith who's been frozen for thousands of years. All of a sudden, the Force becomes powerful in him, and it makes him break free of his bond in ice, and he's ready to plunder the galaxy and go after the Jedi because he wants his revenge, something like that. And he maybe joins up with the Empire, like the Empire comes and joins with them, and they go out and try to destroy the galaxy and destroy the new Jedi, something like that. Um, and of course they need Luke Skywalker. They need Luke Skywalker. Um, Han Solo and all that. Like, they're all gonna come back to fight the Luke Skywalker's probably been hiding. Let's say like this, and he's left the Empire business, hunting down the Empire to go. He's left the business of hunting down the Empire with the Rebel Alliance to strengthen his own Jedi skills and to find other Jedi. But let's say he's not successful, and so he's kind of retired, and Han and all of them, they're the ones still hunting the Empire, and everything's not going too well because the Empire is still pretty strong, and the rebel, is not like weak, but it's no one's getting bigger when no one's getting lower. It's just kind of like the same for 30 years, and all of a sudden the Force awakens, and these people who are just normal, all of a sudden they get the Force, similar to how in Avatar they got airbending, and the Force awakens in a lot of people, and again awakens the Sith that's been frozen for 1,000 years. He wakes up, he pulls out his lightsaber, after he kills the people who maybe discovered him, and and whoever survived that, whoever attacked him, has to report to the world that the Sith are back. And Luke, of course, senses it in the Force, and that brings Luke back with the Rebel Alliance. Because Luke's goal now is not only Luke's new goal now is to take out this new Sith that is awakened, but also he finds out that people get the Force, and the Force awakens in everybody, and so he's like, new Jedi, I have a chance to rebuild the Jedi temple that's on Coruscant. So that could be a base, and maybe Han Solo and all them find Han Solo and Chewbacca find uh, John Boyega, Finn, and Daisy Ridley, Rey, find them as Force sensitive, and the stormtroopers are after him because the stormtroopers are hired to kill the Jedi, and John Boyega and Rey, Finn and Rey. I almost said Finn and Jake, Adventure Time, popping in my head. Finn and Rey go with Han Solo to escape, because Han Solo's going to take him to Luke Skywalker to escape from what's left of the Empire. So maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe something different. Maybe it's going to be completely different. I don't know. But the title The Force Awakens just makes me pop into my head. Or another theory is they 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 could do it again like Last Airbender, where people get lightsabers. I mean, not the Force, and not everyone who gets the Force is good. Like, people who all of a sudden get the Force, like maybe one of them is a criminal, kind of like Zahir, and one of them is a criminal, um, and he wants to use the dark side, so he's using his Jedi powers for bad, like plundering space villages, or spaceports on like Tatooine. He just goes around, with his Force, and he's using it for bad, which leads him to the dark side. And maybe he finds an old ancient Sith lightsaber, and he uses that, and it's still not the best because again the crystals are deteriorating. That, or he tries to make it, and he's just horrible at it, and that's what it's like. But I actually like the new look of the Sith lightsaber because it makes it look more violent and evil. Like it's supposed to be like maybe more like it looks more fiery. Like it looks more like uh like a fire than the laser. So I think that the new lightsaber looks really cool. The lightsaber sound effects, you know, the Millennium Falcon looks more sleeker. You know, it has a new dish. Um, I heard that Han Solo actually doesn't have it anymore in story rumors. It belongs to somebody else. Um, which I can't see why that happening because Han Solo. Okay, that would be like if Han Solo. Okay, the Millennium Falcon to Han Solo is like the Black Pearl to Captain Jack, you know, or it's like, you know, he doesn't want anybody else to have it. It's his baby. It's his baby. You know. So I can't see the Millennium Falcon without Han Solo. That's like seeing uh the that's like seeing the Enterprise chair and no Kirk or Picard. You know, you can't see that. Um, but the now I have interesting questions about this new Star Wars movie. Now you know in the original trilogy the fighting was pretty basic with the lightsabers just kind of tapping. It wasn't anything like twirling or flips or well choreographed or well sparred or much strategy to it, except for maybe Empire Strikes Back because I'm in martial arts and I know how different I'm also into swords, like how different swords move. And in Empire Strikes Back, there are a couple moves that are actually actual sword moves, you know. But in the prequel trilogy, it was really well choreographed. You know, actual fighting, like actual sword fighting, and like an actual sword fight that is really good would look more like the prequel than the original. Because the original is just the original had better story and better special effects and better acting than the prequels. But the one thing the prequels did get right is the sword fighting, the lightsaber fighting. And I heard that J.J. Abrams wants it to be more like the original trilogy. Now, I don't blame him. But is sword fighting going to be choreographed like the original trilogy or like the prequel trilogy? Who knows? Maybe since they're new Jedi's, they're not going to be as strong. I don't know. Maybe they'll be back to and maybe Luke has finally gotten to that level. I don't know. But I can't wait to see what the new Star Wars does. Now, Star Wars has been in my heart forever. You know, I've pretty much I can't remember the first time I've ever watched Star Wars. It's like Star Wars has always been with me as a child. Okay, I probably watched it when I was a month old, and I've kept watching it, and it's just developed in my brain ever since then. You know, I watched the old VHSs. You know, I watched the special editions. I watched the prequels. You know, I've watched everything. I've even watched the Clone Wars movie, and I've watched a little bit of Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars has been with me my whole life. Star Wars, you know, and you know, I actually, you know, I don't mind the prequel trilogy, you know, probably because I grew up with both of them, so I'm used to. The prequel trilogy has a different tone than the originals do, and so I'm used to both of them. But I do admit the originals are a lot better. But I don't consider the prequels awful. I do think they did a lot of good things, but they're not up to par with the original, you know, which is understandable. I mean, it's hard, you know, people's got to realize it's hard to have the same quality over again. You know, it's hard to have follow the act of, okay, it's hard to follow the act of the original trilogy, okay? It's like that's like expecting Beethoven's mentor to be, I mean, it's like expecting the Beethoven's apprentice to be as good as Beethoven himself. It's kind of hard to follow in that line. You know, it's a tough act to follow. That's what it really is. It's like if expecting the fight after Muhammad Ali to be as good, the fight before Muhammad Ali's fight to be as good as Muhammad Ali's fight. I mean, it's a tough act to follow. Star Wars, and people just got to give the prequels a little more slack to them. You know, actually try to find something good about the movie. I know there are negatives and there are positives. You know, but I try to find positives in what I watch. You know, um, so I can't wait to see what JJ has to offer about Star Wars. If he does it right, I think what I've seen so far, I've seen nothing bad. I hope it's as good as the original trilogy, but again, tough act to follow. If it's not, I understand. You know, it's hard to have the same quality as something. It really is. And like for example, Godfather 3, I think is a terrible movie, you know, but I don't think because it's not as good as the first two, which were amazing. I don't think it's bad because the first two are much better. I think it's bad because there's actually bad stuff. Like the lines they say in the movie is just horrible, you know. But something like I mean, there are horrible lines, but there's also a lot like to like also. Like, again, I like the sword fighting, the music. Darth Maul's pretty cool. Revenge of the Sith is pretty much almost as good as the original trilogy. It's as at least as good as Return of the Jedi. You know, if not, you know, it's or New Hope. You know, it's at least as good as Return of the Jedi or New Hope. Not quite Empire level, which I don't expect, but Revenge of the Sith is actually pretty good. People need to give that movie more slack. But I'm here to talk about the trailer, so maybe another time I'll talk about Star Wars in general. But the trailer to this movie is cool. It's really cool. It's raising questions. I like questions. Um, Kylo Ren is the new Sith. That's my theory. He's an ancient Sith that was 1,000 years ago, and that's why his lightsaber's all weird because it's like all cracked because it's 1,000 years old. So the crystals are probably degenerating and stuff like that. And so that's just my theory. And he's on a snow planet, and the Sith is apparently supposed to be destroyed, but it doesn't talk about Sith who were like frozen. I don't know, something like that. Um, I can't wait to see what they have in store. Maybe he was frozen like what if a Sith was frozen in carbonite, and some buffoon wakes him up and he's like ready to plunder the galaxy. You know. Um, but I can't wait to see what they have in store. You know, don't expect it to be Empire Strikes Back, people. I know Anthony Daniels said it is, but don't expect it to be. Don't expect it to be as good as the original trilogy. Expect it as its own thing. Watch it. Try to enjoy what you see. There's something bad, that's good. But if there's something good, great, I think this is going to be good, and I think this one's going to be more loved by the fans because it looks like it's going to have more of the tone of the original trilogy. So I guess that's a plus. So can't wait to see what they have on December 18th. May the Force be with you. Oh no, I'm doing the wrong thing. May the Force be with you. Me.